I'm here today talking with Supervisor Heidi Hall. We're going to discuss what's happening in the local government around COVID-19. Thanks for joining me, Heidi. How are you? How is everything going?
Thanks for having me, Joe. Things are incredibly busy. It's a little stressful, a little concerning, but also hopeful. You know, we've done a lot of good work, and we're trying to keep hope and push forward in a positive way.
Great. So how has this current situation affected county government? How you guys have had the ability to govern locally?
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that all government entities are dealing with, right? Our city councils, and then even at the state level as well. So we've all had to adapt very quickly to Zoom and Teams and WebEx and Ring Central. And I mean, I've learned all about those now. And we're conducting almost all of our business online or over things like Zoom. We've adapted pretty quickly in the county. The county was pretty well prepared to make this switch, and senior staff made it almost immediately, brought their the rest of the staff along, and the board was a little slower, those of us on the board, probably to get online. So we've been able to keep business running. It's been pretty great. The hardest part is doing the board meetings online, and it's hard for people to get public comment in. So we're hoping we can get back in the chambers on some limited way soon.
Great. So so you guys have had the ability to kind of govern effectively despite all of this happening. Where can people see the supervisor meetings as they're occurring currently?
So we are streaming them live every Tuesday, and when there've been some technical glitches, and when there are, we pause and start again so that the whole thing is live and then archived. We stream it on Facebook, but it goes formally through NCTV. So you can get it on NCTV channel 13, or you can go on Facebook, or you can go to the website, go nevadacounty.com, and you can find it there too. And we're really encouraging people to come in and see, because we are continuing to do quite a bit of business.
Great. It's good to hear. So we're lucky here in Nevada County. I mean, the cases have remained pretty low. As far as I can tell, Western County has had about 12 cases consistently for the last 3 weeks, 0 active cases, which is such great news for us. Have there been conversations around kind of reopening the county, and what have those conversations look like?
Yes. So on the cases, it's been very positive, and as folks may or may not know, they should know by now, but we have another couple of testing sites in Nevada County. So one more up in Kings Beach and one at the Vets Hall. That's thanks to the state. And they can do up to 130 tests a day. And it's pretty much, you don't really have to have symptoms at all to go in there and get a test. It's free. You just go to lhi.care, make an appointment. It's quick, it's easy, it's safe. And I really would encourage people to just go down and get tests. So that came online early this week or last week, and so far we still have not seen any more positive tests. So that's very good news. And
have they been maxing out their testing each day?
They have not yet, as far as I know. So there is room for people. We really want to get people down there to take the test, and it's good for as long as they continue to be safe. They could still be exposed after that. But the more positive tests we have, the more we know we're doing the right thing, and that's a real attestation to people sheltering in place and being careful when they go out, just like we've asked.
That's great.
So go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You go ahead, do more.
So to get to the reopening part, as you also may be aware, we had an emergency meeting on Monday night to make sure that we could attest in a letter to the state that we are ready to go into phase 2, the second part of phase 2. So Monday morning, the whole state was allowed to open in phase 2, which meant curbside service at some retail and more restaurants and more retails and bookstores and things like that. Mm-hmm. Second part of stage 2 is actually a little more open. So some restaurants are now allowed to be open if they can protect their staff and customers, continuing to use personal protective equipment and distancing So they have to, their county staff is working really closely with all the restaurants to show them what they need to do and help them feel safe. And a lot of them are opening. Some of them are choosing to wait anyway. Some of them are going to test it out. So I think the next few weeks, the next week and a half to 2 weeks, are going to be really, really critical. Number one, to see if our cases start going up, in which case, we've moved too fast, or to see if this works for businesses. Some of them are saying, they have to reduce their number of people they're serving, and is that going to be financially viable for them?
Right.
So we'll have to see.
Yeah. So what are those conversations with the governor look like? I understand that the state is sort of dealing with it on a case by case basis. And in our rural communities, they're looking at it kind of as clusters of counties. What are we as a county, are we asking permission to open up further, or what does that conversation with the governor look like?
Yeah, it's been very interesting, and it has actually turned into county by county, because each county is doing some things slightly differently. And so we were one of the first bunch in line, and everyone's understanding was we attest to all these security measures, to the fact that we have enough testing and tracing going on. We do a containment plan, which was optional, and we're going to do anyway. And then we'd be allowed to reopen. We learned at the last minute that, oh, wait, we want to post the plan first, and then you can officially reopen. So that took just overnight, basically. The plan is now posted on the state website. And the individual businesses still have to come up with their own plans and checklists. They don't have to submit them to the state or to the county, but they have to have them on site, and they have to be clear on what they're doing to protect themselves. So we've had regular conversations with the governor's office. I am, proud that we're standing out as pushing forward as fast as we can safely, but also abiding by their guidelines. You may have heard that Shasta County was ready to jump in, but then one of their towns, Cottonwood, had a rodeo, which they weren't supposed to have. And that created some tension, and they had to hold off. And that's one of the things we want to make sure does not happen in Nevada County. We are not supposed to be having meetings, having groups. We're not supposed to be having events. A lot of places, barber shops and salons cannot open yet, gyms. So we have to continue to be very careful.
You mentioned tracing in there. What is the county doing in terms of contact tracing as positive cases do arise?
So our public health department, run by Jill Blake, and Dr. Cutler is our public health expert there. They will tell you that we do contact tracing all the time whenever we have an illness such as measles or something that comes up that can infect people quickly. They do contact tracing. They're familiar with it. They have all the skills. What we're doing now is ramping up to have more people trained to do that contact tracing while we have more cases, or in the case more cases come our way. So they are working, the state is sending people out to be trained, and they're going to get people to the county. The county has reached out to a few people. So they're working on that right now, making sure we have enough people to do contact tracing should it come to that.
Great. So what happens should we start to reopen and we might see a surge in new cases? Is there a plan for sort of shutting down the economy locally?
There is, and that is one of the requirements actually of getting approval by the state to do this additional reopening, is that we need to be prepared to go backwards if we have to. And really the only reason that would happen is if we have businesses who aren't complying, people who are not complying, and people who are making it easy for someone to come in who's infectious, and they may or may not be symptomatic, and to pass it on to others. So not distancing, or not using PPE, or not disinfecting. If that happens, it really just takes one or two people not doing it properly. And if we see a surge, and I think the metric right now is it's a certain number per 1,000 or 10,000. So the metric for us is if we increase by 10 cases, then we're going to have to shut back down.
And how do you plan to get the word out to the community if something like that happens? I mean, I have to give you guys credit for the county website has such great information. It's something I've been tracking regularly, but maybe people aren't all checking that as regularly as some of us.
Yeah. So we're doing a ton of pushing information out. We're on Facebook too, where we push a lot of information out. We have weekly calls with all of the elected officials who are sort of the city and town councils and the hospitals every week, where we pass on new and updated information. We get, of course, an emergency briefing every morning or every other morning now with all the new information, and that information gets pushed out to folks who need to know. And we've developed a number of sort of workshop Zoom meetings with businesses, and we're working really closely with a bunch of volunteer businesses and the chambers of commerce so that they know what we're doing. So we're taking input from them on what's working and what's not, and we're passing that information on to them too. So we have a pretty good, pretty robust network with both with the cities and with the chambers and individual businesses, but we can always do more. And this is why doing something like this is great, to keep getting the word out about what we need to be doing right now to be compliant.
Great. What is the plan moving forward? I mean, in terms of in the long term, what can we expect in terms of maybe 4th of July parades or county fairs? Have any decisions been made in terms of large gatherings moving forward?
Yeah, so the really important thing to know is that we are still under a state shelter in place order. And that is very specific. And that's where they lay out the 4 stages of reopening. So we're just getting into stage 2. We're not near ready to go into stage 3, which would allow for some small meetings to happen. But that's going to be at least several weeks, if not longer, because we have to see first if stage 2 is working. And then stage 4 would be everything opening. So things like a July 4th parade or a fair. I don't think we're going to see any of that happening this summer. Nothing really with big meetings is going to be, we're not going to be prepared for that. We don't have the vaccine. That doesn't look like it's going to come around anytime soon. And, there are people talking about herd immunity, but it takes up to 90% of the people to be infected to get herd immunity. That translates into millions of people, thousands in this county dying before we're safe. So we're in this very difficult place where we're going to need to continue to shelter in place for quite a while, and work very carefully when we're out in public.
Yeah, we're in it for the long haul, unfortunately.
We are in it for the long haul. We are. And if I could take a moment to say, one of the things I'd like to say is that at the board, we're under the state mandate, and then our public health officials are the ones who make the critical decisions about what we can and cannot do. And they are separate from politics, right? We don't get to tell our public health officials what to do. We do what they ask us. That's the way it's set up. There are counties out there that are defying that. I don't support that. We don't support that. I find that frankly horrific, because what we're doing is we're ignoring science. So but we are getting a lot of letters from people who feel strongly about reopening faster or not opening fast enough, because a lot of us know each other in the community. I'm getting a lot of personal messages from people saying they're a little concerned about how fast we're going. I want to really encourage everyone to write short emails to the Board of Supervisors telling us how they feel about what we're doing. Should we be opening? Are you feeling comfortable with this? What do you want to see? How do you feel about where we're going? And that is it's a very simple BD of supervisors at co.nevada.ca.us. And like I said, politics are not to influence our public health requirements, but it is important that we know where the community stands on this. Sometimes, like right now, there is a coordinated campaign asking us to just push through everything, just zoom right into phase 4, ignore the state mandate. Yeah. We are, of course, not going to do that, but it's helpful for us to know if people also are clear that they don't want us to do that. It's helpful for us to get information like that in emails or phone calls.
Certainly. I saw that there was a small gathering of protesters asking for reopening of the government at the county offices, and right. So
Yeah, and it's been very frustrating and difficult for our businesses, and we're so deeply aware of that. And that is why we've pushed so hard to get into the second phase of
Yeah.
phase 2. It wasn't because people were telling us to go sue the governor and jump ahead. That's not why we did this. We did this because we know that our businesses need more help.
Yeah.
And we're really trying to toe that very fine line between keeping us very safe and also ensuring that some of our employees can get back to work and people can get out and about.
Great. So you did mention some of these new testing facilities. Those just opened last week. Is that right?
I think it was last Monday. My weeks get confused. I think it was last Monday, because we went down on Tuesday morning when it right after it had opened, and I got tested. Dan Miller, the other supervisor, vice chair, and I both got tested, and I got my result back, and it was negative. So that was helpful to know.
Congratulations.
It was quick, thank you, quick and painless, and really very easy.
How long did it take for the results to come in?
For me, it took about 4 to 5 days. I have a little
okay.
issue with them getting my email. I think Supervisor Miller got his back a day earlier.
Okay.
Or a day or two earlier. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I know that there's been issues with antibody testing across the country, but is there any word on that coming to Nevada County anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. And
Okay.
really, all I can share is I'm keeping up on what's happening in the science. And so all I can share is what I understand from the last testing phone call from emergency services at the state. I sat in on that call. The antibody tests, there really are multiple types out there. They're not all good. There's only 1 or 2 that are effective. There are limitations on some people about how effective it is, even figuring that out with some people. And they're not quite sure yet if having the antibody makes you immune. I think they're going further in that direction, but they don't really know. I do know, I will say that Yuba Docs is offering those serology tests.
Oh, really?
I don't know where they came from, and I think you pay for them, but I do understand that he's offering them.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk with us. Is there anything else you want to leave with people?
I really want to encourage them again to be in touch with what's going on their county and city level, to email or call us, and always please be polite and logical. We get enough hate mail. We don't, that doesn't make us do things faster. So let us know where you stand on things. And then I just also want to mention that at the Nevada City Council meeting last night, an award-winning developer came in with a proposal to do some affordable housing in Nevada City on the Cashin Field site, which is off of Zion Street. It looks very exciting. It's a Nevada City project, and it is a by right project. So there isn't a lot, people, they want to have input from the public, but there's not a lot of permitting or whatnot they need to go through. It looks pretty exciting. I just want to encourage people to pay attention to that and provide input to the city.
Great. We will look at that. All right. Thanks, Heidi. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Joe. Happy to do this anytime.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.